Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and welcome to another edition of the State of the Saints podcast live on YouTube as well as Facebook. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for making the State of the Saints podcast part of your morning, evening, or night, wherever you are right now. On this edition, we're going to be talking about Michael Thomas endorsement. And we're also going to be talking about rookies reporting for training camp and getting COVID testing. So I want to say to all of you, if this is your first time checking out the State of the Saints podcast, I know there's a lot of people that are on Facebook never caught a podcast. So thank you all very much for your time. Really do appreciate it. And I want to give a special shout out to everybody that is in the chat right now. I see Casual Dex is in there right now. So we're going to be talking about Michael Thomas, man. Michael Thomas goes to Twitter. I mean, that's no surprise. I mean, Michael Thomas is always on Twitter. Michael Thomas is always on Twitter, man. He's always tweeting and talking and stuff like that. But he tweeted about defensive end Jadeveon Clowney. Now, this comes after the report of safety Jamal Adams gets traded from the New York Jets to the Seattle Seahawks. And we all know that Jadeveon Clowney played for the Seahawks last season. And, you know, the Seahawks did have a little bit of hope trying to sign Jadeveon Clowney, you know, to a deal. But Jamal Adams, they decided to give up 2 first-round picks for Jamal Adams. So it looked like the writing is on the wall. Looks like Jamal Adams is going to sign a long-term deal with the Seahawks. He's going to be with them for the foreseeable future. So the question is, you know, what does that leave Jadeveon Clowney? And in my honest and humble opinion, it just seems like he's going to be a free agent. And I'm just very surprised to see like that training camp is about to get started. And you still have a lot of these guys out here, man, that still have not been signed yet. You know, people like Daquez Denard, people like Everson Griffin, people like Jadeveon Clowney, like they still have not been signed. And we basically, man, are coming upon training camp. So I'm just wondering, like, who is going to sign these guys and what's going to happen now that we're in training camp and these guys haven't gotten an opportunity to be signed. So I think a lot of numbers that these guys were probably going out to pursue, probably not going to get the money that they think that they're going to get. So once again, Michael Thomas tweeted he felt like it was right that Jadeveon Clowney comes to the New Orleans Saints. And yeah, a lot of people in the Who Dat Nation that follow Michael Thomas, they were really excited about it. And we've been talking about this on several occasions on the State of the Saints podcast. We've been talking about could the Saints sign Jadeveon Clowney? Is it a good idea? And, you know, I mean, look, the whole fact of Michael Thomas coming out and endorsing Jadeveon Clowney, look, I take it with a grain of salt. I think that people have a lot of respect for Michael Thomas, but Michael Thomas is a football player, and I know that some of these GMs and stuff like that, you know, they probably just say, man, you know, you're a football player, and we'll handle general manager and managerial things that need to be done with the Saints. But that doesn't mean that, you know, he can't endorse him. I feel like Jadeveon Clowney would be a great asset to the New Orleans Saints. I think that he would be great with the pass rush. I think that he's a guy that can take over a game when he's motivated. But I really just feel like Jadeveon Clowney, for the exception of playing for the Seahawks, has never really been in a true position to go to a contender and really play on the field and believe in his heart of hearts that he can possibly win a Super Bowl. With the New Orleans Saints, he has a strong possibility, a very high probability of making a Super Bowl if he contributes to the team and be as dominant as he was in some of the games that he played. Now, I'm not saying that Jadeveon Clowney deserves a whole bunch of money, because me personally, I have not seen enough out of Jadeveon Clowney for me to go out here and endorse the fact that he needs to make a whole bunch of money. But I do feel like he needs to be in the realm of maybe like 12 to $14 million a year. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about for some short years. I don't feel like anybody needs to sign a long-term deal to Jadeveon Clowney because, quite frankly, he don't deserve it. He does not deserve a long-term deal because he's done absolutely nothing for him to, elicit a long-term deal. I mean, it's just the truth. I mean, have never had double-digit sacks. kind of takes plays off. Really doesn't play inspired many games. So the way that I feel, I think that he needs to really show what he has before a team really is fully committed to him. It's almost like going to a used car dealership, right? If you go to a used car dealership, you see the car and it looks all nice. It's a nice blue car, a nice red car, and it's shined up with the turtle wax. It's fine on the outside. It looks real good. You know what I'm saying? It looks very promising. But it's best for you to try to get behind the wheel and ride it down the street, because you might be sold what they like to call a lemon. Okay, it looks good on the outside and really ain't about nothing on the inside, and will just cause you a whole bunch of trouble. So Jadeveon Clowney, in my opinion, as of right now, he's a lemon. He looks good. He's physically imposing, 6'5", 265 pounds, can take over a game. But for him to do it over, a substantial amount of time has not happened yet. So I think the Saints need to kick the tires on him. But as far as a long-term commitment, I think absolutely not. I think that he's probably going to end up getting signed to like a 1-year deal. And we all know who the kings of the 1-year deal is. It's teams like the New England Patriots. It's teams like the New York Giants. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Jadeveon Clowney from that particular point. But Michael Thomas, he can endorse all he wants to. I like Mike, but I don't think the Saints are going to sign Jadeveon Clowney because Michael Thomas wants him to be there. Thank everybody for being a part of live, man. I want to give a special shout out Casual Decks. I see Jerry is here, Joe, Kai is here, Deal. Thank y'all for checking it out. I see a lot of people on Facebook. I see Anthony here. Tamicia is here. So thank y'all very much. Let me start off with my guy Deal Pickle. He says, I don't want to sign him because it will take away from Davenport's development. Deal, I don't think that's necessarily true, my friend. I don't think it's going to take away from his development. I don't think that it would have anything to do with the fact that that he will become like a middle of a pack player. I think that on the contrary, he would actually benefit from this, because when you think of Jadeveon Clowney, in ways you think about Davenport, man. Their stories are kind of similar. Guys that started off in the league, both of them have issues with injury, but when they're on the field, they can take over a game. I mean, we've seen this before. I've seen Davenport take over a game. I've seen him take over a game on Sunday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings, and I've seen him take over a game on Monday Night Football against the Washington football team. At the time, they were the Redskins. So, I mean, I feel like learning with Jadeveon Clowney, it might be able to help him, man. I'm not saying Jadeveon Clowney is like a seasoned veteran or something like that, like we talking about Michael Strahan or, Reggie White or something, but he does have similar characteristics and similar athleticism of Davenport. And I really feel like he can benefit from Clowney actually coming to the team. So it might be a blessing to him to actually have that. And also, I think that the Saints would do a good job in the rotation, because I don't think Jadeveon Clowney is going to really too much complain about being in a rotation, because you got to think about the fact if you sign like a 1-year deal, you got to think about like, okay, you don't know if this team is going to sign you at the end of the season, and you don't want to break yourself down for another team, that can possibly sign you during the long haul. You want to take advantage of the opportunities that you get, when you're on the field. So I think that he would be okay with the rotation, especially not being under a contract. Let me read some of the donations. I want to give a special shout out to TJ's old background. I knew you couldn't leave me alone. We got them things going on. It's love. Thank you very much, TJ's old background. Actually, the reason why the old background went up because of the green screen, because of the shirt that I got on today. It was actually, it was going into the green screen. So the green screen was showing up on the T-shirt. And this is, the official Run the Football T-shirt, as y'all can see. The Run the Football T-shirt that I created for the State of the Saints podcast. Want to let the Saints know they need to – hold on, let me take the donation down. Need them to run the football, Like, that's what we need them to do. So the official Run the Football T-shirt right here. in full effect. But thank you, TJ's old background. And also want to give a special shout out to my guy, Tim, man, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Why does this Saints season seem too good to be true? If we get Clowney, we are getting a chip. Well, I'm not going to go that far. I don't feel like, this is just a missing piece to get over the hump, Tim. I do feel like the Saints just need to learn how to finish. You know what I'm saying? That's what they need to do. They need to learn how to finish. They need to learn how to play as a team, and they need to learn how to be consistent, man. There's a lot of games where the Saints will go out there and play lights out defensively, and then the next game they'll wet the bed. So I just think there's a lot of consistency that needs to go on. I'm really waiting for this defense to play really well throughout the entire season. I would like to see a complete body of work. I'm about to say something to a lot of people out there that may be considered controversial, but it needs to be said. If the New Orleans Saints are going to win the Super Bowl, they're going to have to put on a similar performance that of the Denver Broncos when Peyton Manning's last season happened. That's the way that the defense is going to have to play. They're going to have to be an elite defense in order for the Saints to win the Super Bowl, because I really honestly believe that Drew Brees cannot deliver the Saints a Super Bowl, at least not by himself. It's going to take a running game. It's going to take the offensive line, and it's going to take a lights-out defense. And I feel like just like what Peyton Manning was, I think, saying back, I think that was like 2015 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. You've seen him throw the football, but he was throwing the football in certain situations. He wasn't throwing the football all over the field. He was throwing the football when it was necessary, and they were running the football, quite often, and they were playing really good defense. I feel like the Saints are going to have to follow the recipe of the Denver Broncos. And no, I don't think that Drew Brees is as beaten down as Peyton Manning was. Peyton Manning was dealing with a neck injury, that really hindered his throwing ability. So I don't think that Drew Brees has that issue. I still feel like Drew Brees' arm is a little bit stronger than Peyton Manning's was at the twilight of his career. But I do feel like the Saints cannot be Drew Brees dependent this season in order for them to win the Super Bowl. It's not happening, okay? It is not happening without the defense playing lights out and sustaining success over the complete, the complete body of the season. So if the New Orleans Saints can actually pull that off, if the New Orleans Saints can actually have a really good defense, if the Saints can actually get stops when necessary, get those 3 and outs, not just stay on the field and let teams just go ahead and just march down the field on them consistently, I think that they can win the Super Bowl. But they cannot just think that, we can just get a few stops and we can bend but don't break. No, that's not going to work, man. Not with this team, not with the way that the offense is structured now. Back in the days, maybe, when Drew Brees' arm was a little bit stronger and, you can see a little bit more zip and pop on the football and he can get it down the field, to a certain extent. If they had that, like if they had like 2012, 2013 Drew Brees combined with a decent defense, you'll have yourself a Super Bowl. But as far as Drew Brees now at the age of 41 years old, you really need the defense to be the face of the team this season in order for them to win anything. Okay, that's just a fact. You're not going to win. You're not going to win anything. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're not going to win anything if you're just thinking that, oh man, Drew Brees is back, we're going to win. Nah, you're not winning anything. The Saints cannot win, just relying on Drew Brees anymore. Maybe that was the case a couple years ago, but if you think that Drew Brees can lead the Saints to a Super Bowl by himself or carry the team on his back like he once did, then you're fooling yourself. That's my humble opinion on that. Iceman T says, man, if we stack the deck this much, we better not lose in the playoffs. I agree, man. If you're stacking a deck and you're going to Vegas and putting it all on black, you definitely got to pull it off. I just feel like as a Saints fan, I'm just tired of seeing close but no cigars. I'm tired of seeing close but not quite. I'm tired of seeing people like, oh, we're going to make it. And then all of a sudden we don't. Oh, we say, this is our year. This is our year. I'm tired of constantly saying that. And this team just wet in the bed. I mean, it's sad. Like they have to buckle down. They have to be disciplined. That's just like a couple of days ago. Shouts out to Mario Edwards. He said it on the State of the Saints podcast on Friday. He said, man, it wasn't anything that the Minnesota Vikings were doing in the playoffs and what we weren't doing. And I hear that quite often from Saints players, not just Mario. It's the little things. It's the little things. We need to clean this up. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all been cleaning up stuff so long, man. The room should be virtually spotless. You have no excuse to not be able to make the Super Bowl. I mean, honestly, there's no excuse for the New Orleans Saints not to make the Super Bowl. Every analytical person that writes down graphs and charts and percentages have the New Orleans Saints ranked in the top 3. They're ranked in the top 3 when it comes to roster. They're ranked in the top 3 when it comes to coaching. They're ranked in the top 3 when it comes to potentially making a Super Bowl. There's absolutely no excuse for the New Orleans Saints not to make the Super Bowl. And honestly, man, I really can't accept the fact that, this happened, or the ball went this way, or if the ball would have went this way, or if the referee would have did this. Nah, man, the team is just too good. There are some teams out here that can weather certain storms. There are certain teams where, they should be so good that certain things don't need to be involved. Like if a missed tip pass is involved, or if the referee miscalled or something like that. Like, no, you need to be one of those teams that are so good that you don't need the referees to be involved. You shouldn't care. If a referee have a bad call, the league should be so insurmountable. The league should be so insurmountable that the referee call shouldn't even matter. Okay, you think about some of those dominant teams, man. Even like, I hate to say it, man, even the Falcons in 2015, when they were making that playoff run, they dominated the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship game, man. I mean, even the Carolina Panthers, when they went to the Super Bowl to take on the Denver Broncos in the NFC Championship game, they dominated. I think that it was the Arizona Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken. So I would love to see the Saints actually make a strong run in the playoffs where we actually like, man, this is truly the best team in football. I'm tired. Like, I hear people all the time, man, what you think about that call? Man, they screwed us. No, the Saints be screwing themselves sometimes, folks. They do. Sometimes they screw themselves. Sometimes they allow teams to stay in the games when they can really put the pressure on those teams, and they allow those teams to come back into the game. Rather it be Sean Payton throwing the ball way too much with a lead, rather it be them not committing to the run, rather them, basically just not doing enough defensively to make enough stops. It is a combination of those things. And we need to understand, as Saints fans, it's not so much about the referees. It's not so much about what the other team is doing. It's about the New Orleans Saints' inability to, when things go their way, to capitalize on them. And as long as they are doing that, we're going to continue to have the same issues, and we're going to continue to nitpick and blame this person and that person for the success or the lack of success that the New Orleans Saints have in the postseason. I'm looking forward to the Saints actually performing at a high level, doing what they need to do to press forward, and I'm not looking for any more excuses, folks. I'm not. I'm in that category. I don't need any more excuses. The Saints are too good for us to be constantly trying to find reasons why they lost. Straight up. Let's move on, man. Let's move on to a couple more. Let's see. We got Kai. He says, it's a must. We run the football. Send Sean Payton that T-shirt, TJ. Well, I definitely will send Sean Payton a T-shirt as I drank a little bit of water. I definitely will send him one of them T-shirts. No doubt about that. I like that shirt. Thank you, Jerry. Mike says, also, TJ, you think adding a veteran piece and a key to leave will help us or hinder us? I would love for us to get him. He could play the nickel or the outside if one of our main guys get hurt. I think that would be a good idea, Mike. No doubt about that. Key to leave still was playing at a high level. When he left the Rams, it was just the fact that he started to get a little bit of an injury bug, man. That was the reason why he ended up getting traded to the Dolphins. But I would love to see Aqib Talib in a Saints uniform. I think that he would really be a key addition to the New Orleans Saints. I still think he has good speed, good lockup ability. He's a guy that's really sure of himself, man. Yeah, he does have some issues, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to off the field. But as of late, Aqib Talib has been an upstanding citizen, man. And I think that comes with maturity. Like you've been in the league and you're young and you're a millionaire and all these different people, want to get at you. And sometimes, you fall into that trap where you want to show everybody what you got and you're successful and you want to be out on the town and you want to celebrate, you want to go to the clubs and stuff like that, the strip club, just act Lou Williams. But anyway, you want to show people, but eventually you get older, get a little family, you get kids, and the things that you once valued, you realize weren't really that important. And I feel like that's the level where Aqib Talib is on. So I would love to see him in a Saints uniform. I definitely feel like he can contribute to the Saints. And if the Saints could get him at a reasonable price and a possibility that he can make the Super Bowl, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, what do you got? He already has a Super Bowl ring, if I'm not mistaken, with New England. So who knows? Who knows? I would love to see Aqib Talib. I think that he would be a good addition. I know he's up there with age. Forgot to mention. Yeah, I got you, Mike. Like he is 33 years old, but he's still playing at a high level. So I would love to see him. Josh, thank you for the $2. He says, who's the best deep ball defense in the NFL in your opinion? The best deep ball defense in the NFL are the Baltimore Ravens. In my honest and humble opinion, guys that can, when teams go deep, guys can intercept the ball. I mean, you got Earl Thomas out there. You got Marlon Humphreys. You got Marcus Peters. So I really feel like the Baltimore Ravens are the best deep ball defense in the NFL. So I think that those guys as a collective unit are really, really good. Thank you, Josh, for the $2. Iceman said the problem with the Saints isn't talent. The problem is we don't play as good as we do in the regular season. And it's a combination of things. We don't play as well. I'm not saying this is an excuse, but I get why the New Orleans Saints played the way they did in the postseason last year, because they felt like they didn't belong in a wild card game. I mean, you had 13-3 teams, and there were only like certain things that were stopping the Saints from being the number 2, and that was a tiebreaker with the Green Bay Packers, and they lost a shootout in New Orleans against the San Francisco 49ers. So a lot of that is the fact that they felt like, man, we shouldn't be here. We're 13-3. And maybe they kind of looked past the Minnesota Vikings. But I just feel like Mike Zimmer as a coach has Sean Payton's number. And if the Saints just so happen to squeeze a win against the Minnesota Vikings, it's never like a blowout or anything like that. Mike Zimmer knows Sean Payton. He knows what Sean Payton is going to do. He knows how Sean Payton works. And sometimes it's about matchups. Sometimes you can pull a bad matchup. Like there are teams out there that the Saints could have pulled and they probably would have beat, in a very insurmountable fashion. Like I feel like if they went up against the Green Bay Packers, I think the Saints would have blew them out. I feel like if they went up against the San Francisco 49ers, it would have been a close game. Minnesota, close game. Seattle probably would have had a little bit more of a lead. So there are certain teams that you pull that they just have your number. And I feel like the Minnesota Vikings, Saints fans don't want to hear this, but they do have the Saints number. The Saints, in my opinion, as long as Mike Zimmer is the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, they will never blow out the Minnesota Vikings. And those games will always be nail-biting, blood pressure taken, heart-beating type games, okay? Because like when you're going up against your best friend knows you know them, and it's a recipe for a classic. So that's the way I feel about it. Key Down South says Jordan, Clowney, Davenport, Rankins will be NASCAR 101. Yeah, I agree with that, man. They definitely would be able to get pressure to the quarterback, and there would be no excuse. And I'm interested to see, if Mickey Loomis can manage. And this would be very interesting. You know, if they could possibly get both Everson Griffin and Jadeveon Clowney. And I want people to hear me out now. It's a possibility because Everson Griffin being up there in age, and even though he still has something to offer, still is out there, there's a strong possibility the Saints can get both of these guys. There is a possibility. The way that Mickey Loomis can maneuver the cap, there's a possibility both guys can show up. You know, I mean, you can easily maybe move Griffin, you know what I'm saying, to the inside and be a part of rotation with Sheldon Rankins and crew. And you can have Jadeveon Clowney serve as a linebacker as well as a defensive end. So, I mean, that is just fantasy thinking right there, but there's a possibility that could possibly happen. So if that happens, my goodness, but I wouldn't think it would, but they can move some things around to make it happen. Casual Deck says, yeah, deadly shirt, TJ. I'll buy a few if you make more. Yeah, man, these shirts are available, man. I'll make sure I send the link. The link will be on Facebook. I'll send a link to you all where you can purchase a shirt. They're not expensive or anything like that. So I think they're like $10 or $15, something like that. Depends on your size. So I'm gonna send a link, and they are available to you all, man. So you can get your official Run the Football T-shirt. Thank you, Casual. Donovan says agree. I can't pronounce. I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna just say Frederick. Okay, I totally agree with that. I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher your first name. I think Renadraw. I don't want to butcher the name, so I'm gonna say Frederick. Tim, thank you very much for the $20, man. I appreciate it. Absolutely, TJ. The days of clutch Drew Brees is over. The team has to win the Super Bowl, not Drew. If we get into situations where it's 1 minute left and Drew has to drive the ball down the field, I'm turning off the TV. Well, look, I'm not going to turn off the TV. Okay, I'm not going to turn off the TV on Drew Brees because it hasn't reached that point yet. I think we're all just frustrated that Sean Payton still sees Drew Brees as he was when he was in his late 20s when he joined the New Orleans Saints. He still looks at Drew Brees when he was in his prime, but those days are over. And Sean Payton needs to understand that. And I feel like Sean Payton is doing detriment to his team by not accepting the fact that Drew Brees cannot carry him. And he needs to put a little bit more pressure on Dennis Allen and his defense to perform. And I get it. Sean Payton is a guy who is a egotistical, petty individual who wants all of the credit for himself. He wants to be the reason why the Saints are successful. He wants to be the guy to say that I turned the New Orleans Saints franchise around. It was me, and it was nobody else. That's the way I feel sometimes about Sean Payton. But Sean Payton really has to humble himself. He needs to humble himself the way that he humbled himself back in 2009 when he took $250,000 of his own money in order for him to go and get Greg Williams because he realized that Greg Williams and his blitzing defense was the answer. Okay, that's the way I feel like Sean Payton needs to be now. Much older. He should be much wiser. 15 years in as the coach of the New Orleans Saints, he should fully understand that the New Orleans Saints need a culture change. And for those that are out there right now that think that the New Orleans Saints are the same team they once were, they are not. The Saints need a culture change. The Saints need a change because a change is coming. How many times do y'all think the Saints are going to be able to rely on Drew Brees? How many times do y'all feel like the New Orleans Saints are going to be able to parade Drew Brees out there for your viewing pleasure and your amusement to throw balls all over the field? Sean Payton needs to be working on an exit strategy outside of Drew Brees, and it starts with a defense. You guys see me say this every single show mostly. The best friend of a young quarterback is a good defense in a running game. This is the time to make that transition plan happen. He needs to talk to Dennis Allen. He needs to have him understand, like, man, we need the best defensive performance possible this season because we don't know how long Drew is going to be here. And if Dennis Allen keep on wetting the bed, keep on giving up games to offensive coordinators that or a little bit of, I guess you can say, Sean Payton-esque, like Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan, making you look like absolute trash, then maybe Sean Payton needs to have a conversation and maybe think about moving in a different direction, because the Saints need an elite defense. They need this defense to play the best they can possibly play and not have those same old excuses that the PR team of the New Orleans Saints tells the team to say. We got to look at ourselves in the mirror. Oh, we got to clean this up. We got to clean that up. No, we can't accept that anymore. He needs to have the conversation with Dennis Allen. And he definitely needs to have a conversation with Pete Carmichael and the running backs coach of the New Orleans Saints and have a full commitment to the run. Help your 41-year-old quarterback out. Help him out. Don't keep on relying on him. Because I feel like, in my honest opinion, I feel like it'll be unfair to Drew Brees. You know Drew Brees is not the same. So don't allow the masses who don't really understand football to really pick on Drew Brees and understand it, because they do not understand that Drew Brees is not the same. Okay? Put the pressure off of Drew. Allow Drew to make those throws when he needs to make them, because he's still as accurate as he was in his youth, and allow the defense to be at the best they can possibly be. Own up to it. Okay, we heard this so much before. Back in 2012, talking about how the defense was separate from the offense. That's how the old Bounty Gate scandal happened. So I'm wondering to myself, is it like the same way? Are you just allowing Dennis Allen to handle the defense and you handle the offense? It can't be that way. There's an expectation in New Orleans, and it shouldn't just be from the Who Dat Nation. It should be an expectation from the coaching staff as well, and not just worry about how good Drew looks when he breaks this record, or how good the Saints offense look when they put up 40 points. I can care less about 40 points at this point. We seen the excitement. We seen the 40-point games. We seen all that. But where the Super Bowl's at? We got to hold the defense accountable, and Sean Payton definitely has to himself. So that's just my honest opinion, folks. We definitely have to hold these guys accountable. We definitely have to make sure that the defense is playing lights out. Because if they're not, then, man, this is insanity as Saints fans. The problem, TJ, is very rare that we've seen the Saints fire on all cylinders. Offense, defense, and special teams, 1 year offense. 1 week offense, bad week. The D don't show up, and they give up 3 onside kicks. Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right, Iceman. You hit the nail on the head. It's a lack of consistency. It's a lack of clicking on all cylinders. I can make an argument. The games that all season long that the offense, the defense, and the special team was clicking on all cylinders was the Chicago Bears game and the Seattle Seahawks game. Find me another game that you've seen that the offense, defense, and special team all were clicking on all cylinders. And even in that Chicago Bears game, like you said, late in the game, they were giving up onside kicks. So that's the special teams wetting the bed. This team has to play as a collective unit and hold each other accountable. And you know what I'm saying? And Sean Payton needs to make sure that he's having conversations and holding these guys, accountable, and say that there's a standard in New Orleans that we need to make sure is maintained. So as long as we continue to have these type of issues, we're going to continuously have our heart broken by the New Orleans Saints. So hopefully they can get it together this year. Willie Campbell said, "What up, TJ? Man, what's going on, Willie? Courtesy of Facebook. Thank you." Jermaine says, "What up, TJ? Feel the same. I'm tired of hearing the same thing year after year." Me too. It's just the truth, Jermaine. I'm tired of hearing the same thing over and over again. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. The Saints for a long time have been doing the same thing again and again, over and over again, expecting things to change, and it has not. And no matter how many 13-3 seasons you have, if you don't win a Super Bowl, you don't show up in a Super Bowl, who remembers? Like, who remembers the record of the St. Louis Rams when they lost against the New England Patriots? Who knew the record of the Carolina Panthers when they lost against the Denver Broncos? Who knew the record of the Atlanta Falcons when they lost against the Patriots? I mean, who knew the record of the Pittsburgh Steelers when they lost against the Green Bay Packers back in 2010? Nobody remembers. People remember winners. That's what they remember. They remember winners. Okay, so if you're not winning and you're not winning a big one, then it's a waste of time. So don't give me that 13-3 stuff, folks. Oh, we were 13-3 last season. What did it get us? Got us the division title and bragging rights over the Atlanta Falcons. Well, I got to tell you, folks, I can care less about the Atlanta Falcons because in my honest opinion, the Atlanta Falcons are irrelevant when it comes to the New Orleans Saints. And yeah, it's good to pick on a Falcon fan and talk that talk because it's a friendly rivalry or whatever like that, or you know what I'm saying? I get it. But at the end of the day, like it's about winning. It's about winning. And I can care less about a division title. I would trade in a division title if that means that the Saints would have a shot at the Super Bowl. For a Super Bowl victory, the Atlanta Falcons can have a division title because I feel like the Super Bowl championship is way more important than just talking the talk about a division, okay? Because eventually, you know, it's going to start getting sad because you're going to start wondering to yourself, well, if we keep on winning the division over and over again, then why don't we have any Super Bowls to show for it? That's all I'm saying. It's time for something bigger than a division title. And it's something bigger and more important than just talking that talk to Atlanta Falcon fans. It's about winning championships. And the Saints really have no excuses to not being able to show up in at least one Super Bowl in the past 3 years. Because the team you can argue that the team has been much better than it has ever been, even since the 2009 season. I hope people understand that. I hope you understand that. Clowney or Griffin would be a big boost on the D-line. Yeah, I agree with that, Troy. That's a good point. King Arthur said ATJ had Jason Smoke Turkey David as the worst cornerback that I've seen. That low light reel you did on Fred Thomas, Lord, that boy was poop. Yeah, he was, man. Straight up hot garbage, trash. But the only reason why Jason Smoke Turkey David got the notch over Fred Thomas is because of the money and the expectations. The expectations of Fred Thomas was very little. I mean, it was just the fact that the Saints were kind of rebuilding at the time, and you know they were just trying to get some pieces in place, and they just so happened to get Fred Thomas, but they expected Jason David to be that guy. Run the damn ball. Absolutely, Troy. Absolutely. Like the shirt say, run the ball. Who that? What's going on, Jai? We suck in the playoffs. The end. Pretty much, man. I don't want to say we suck, but we just don't get the job done. I'll just say that. I agree 10%. Drew is one of the best of all time under 2 minutes left in the game, depending on the field position. Drew does make me nervous within our own 20-yard line with little time left. I don't think so, man. I mean, Drew does do some things to put the team in position to win games. They should have won a game against the Rams in the NFC Championship game, and he did give the Saints the go-ahead lead against the Minnesota Vikings in the divisional round of the playoffs. And also, you know, even when they lost to the 49ers, I mean, he threw that ball to Jimmy Graham, you know what I'm saying, to get the Saints to lead before San Francisco drove the ball down the field. So Drew Brees did and has put the Saints in positions to win. The defense had just let the team down. So I'm not going to like completely beat them down. If you want to talk about the interception in 2018, fine. You want to talk about that fumble last year, fine. You know what I'm saying? I will concede to that, but I'm not going to pretend like he has not done things to put the team in a position to succeed only for the defense to break our hearts. So, but I do feel like in order for them to be successful, they got to make sure that they don't just fully rely on Drew Brees, because that would be absolute disaster. Dwayne, thank you very much for the 199. He said, "What up, TJ? Who that nation all day?" Thank you very much, man. We also have Josh donating $2 as well. He says Michael Thomas or young Randy Moss. I'm gonna roll with a young Randy Moss, man. That man was virtually unstoppable. Nobody was stopping Randy Moss. As much as I love Michael Thomas, as much as he's short-handed, great route runner, I'm rolling with Randy Moss, man. Randy Moss was the absolute bona fide, certified truth in a Minnesota Vikings uniform. Nobody could stop this guy. Double cover, triple cover. I mean, couldn't stop him. We got to play much better and never let a team hang around. No excuses this year. I 100% agree with that. We got to put the pressure on teams. Okay, we got to put the pressure on teams, and we gotta live up to expectations. And I don't feel like it's wrong to have these expectations because I'm pretty sure every player, every coach in the New Orleans Saints organization in that locker room has the same expectations as us as Saints fans. So I don't feel like there should be any pressure. And honestly, they shouldn't feel any pressure because things could not get any worse. Minneapolis Miracle. You know what I'm saying? Controversial non-call. Losing in a home game in the Superdome in a wild card game. There shouldn't be any pressure because, I mean, y'all, can it get any worse? Could it get any worse for the team? I mean, probably not. We have one of the best rosters on paper. There shouldn't be any excuses. We have a ton of depth. John, you're absolutely right. True. I can't argue with that. Too much depth, too much talent. And then most importantly, John, the big C, which is chemistry. They have chemistry. They have chemistry over every single team in the division. And you can argue to say they have some of the best chemistry than any other team in the NFL. The Saints signed back a lot of the players that were with the team last year due to COVID-19. So the Saints don't really have to deal with some of the issues that Tampa have to deal with a new team, or Carolina with a new team, or Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, having some new faces in certain spots that are important. The Saints should have the chemistry. Saints should automatically, week one against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, have the advantage when they take the field. Straight up. So hopefully they get it done. Okay, I don't agree. You are forgetting that every team is good. You have tunnel vision. This is the playoffs. Every play counts. Every call counts. Not the excuse is one thing, but the Saints did get screwed. Sorry. That's classic loser talk. Sean, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for the comment, but that's classic loser talk. We always looking for what the refs did to us, what the team did to us, what, you know what I'm saying, what the fans did to us. Oh, they cheating. Man, whatever. This, stop it. Just cut it out. Like we always whining and boo-hooing about one or two plays. Well, let me just be devil's advocate here. What would have happened if Dan Arnold would have caught the ball in the back of the end zone when Demario Davis caught the interception that put the Saints in the red zone? They settled for a field goal. What would have happened if Will Lutz would have made the field goal before halftime? I mean, what would have happened if Drew Brees would have held on to the football? We always trying to make excuses about what the referee did, and it was a push off this and that. But what happened in the course of the game that would have got a different result of the game if the Saints would have did something else? It is easy for us to point out little small things once the game is close. But what happened to the Saints that would have prohibited them to even be in that position? And we need to stop looking at it that way. Oh, everybody good in the playoffs. Well, the Saints was 13-3. Saints were blowing out teams. Saints were the best teams on the field throughout the season. So you're telling me that same 13-3 team that paraded into the playoffs couldn't get the job done against a Minnesota Vikings team that struggled? I mean, honestly, there's no excuse for that, and I get it. I said it earlier. Mike Zimmer has Sean Payton's number when it comes to certain things. But at the same time, I'm watching the 49ers blow out the Minnesota Vikings the following week. The Saints lost to the San Francisco 49ers by 2 points. The same San Francisco 49ers that took the manhood of the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship on their way to the Super Bowl. So you're telling me that a team that lost by 2 points to a team that was arguably the best team in the NFC playoffs, they can't get the job done? They can't blow out a Minnesota Vikings team? They can't blow out a Green Bay Packers team? I fail to believe that. And anybody in the Saints organization or anybody in the Who That Nation believes that, then you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. The Saints showed you they are just as good as the 49ers. So what's the difference between the 49ers parading into the playoffs and beating the Minnesota Vikings to sleep? 8 straight running plays on these clowns. Jimmy G in the NFC Championship game only threw the ball 10 times. And this is the team that beat the Saints by 2 points. Don't give me that. Don't give me, oh, it's the referee's fault. Oh, man, they pushed. Nah, bro. The Saints shouldn't even allow the referees to even be in the conversation in some of those games. If you are that team, if you are that good, then you shouldn't have any excuses. Straight up. The excuses make us feel good about ourselves. The excuses make us feel content where we can talk to an Atlanta Falcon fan or a Carolina Panthers fan or a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan and say, man, they cheated us. But we know deep down inside, there were plays that could have prohibited those situations from happening. I mean, it still don't negate the fact that they did happen, but there were plays that could have happened that would have prohibited us from this heartbreak and this disappointment that we have as Saints fans over the last 3 years. So, Sean, I thank you very much. I appreciate that comment, but to me, that is a cop-out. That is a cop-out. And as a Saints fan I'm 33. I've been a Saints fan as long as I can remember. I just feel like that's that's not a cool move. So TJ, try to get Sean Payton on the podcast so we can get in his head to running the football. Well, if I could, I would. I definitely have him on the show and ask him the question why he don't run the football. Let's throw down a little bit, folks. Because I got a few more minutes here. My fiance has a conference call she has to get on, folks, so I'm gonna have to cut this short. Dwayne says, "What up, TJ? Who That Nation all day?" Dwayne, thank you very much once again for the 199, brother. Let's see. I wouldn't say we need Clowney, but why not bring him in for all in-season start him and let Davenport come off the bench? On third down, Clowney and Davenport on the edge with Cameron Jordan inside. Look, Mike, I get it. Good strategy. I get it. Using your defensive mind, no problem with that. But Davenport is a first-round draft pick. I think I need to remind people what the Saints gave up. The Saints gave up a first-round pick to the Green Bay Packers to acquire Davenport. You do not move up in a draft and, say the least, get a guy in the first round and expect for him to come off the bench. That is not fair to Davenport, and the Saints are not going to do that because they are counting too much on his development to do that. So he is going to be a starter. Jadeveon Clowney can be in a rotation. That would be nice, but I'm not going to, and I think somebody said this earlier, I'm not going to stunt the growth of a Davenport just because Jadeveon Clowney is on my team. I'm going to use Davenport because that is my guy. That is the guy that I went out and I scouted. That is the guy that I traveled and watched him game after game at the University of Texas at San Antonio. And that is the guy where I went into my scout room and said, this is the guy that I want. This is the guy that is going to be the successor to Cam Jordan. This is going to be the guy that is going to be one of the leaders of the defense going forward. So as much as I like Clowney, as much as that would be a good move, as much as he would contribute, I would not let him start over Davenport. That's what teams do not do that. Teams that draft players, they expect those players to perform at a high level. So I don't see that happening. Josh and Jesus, Michael Thomas or young Randy Moss, already read that. But thank you very much for the $2 once again, man. I'm going to stroll down a little bit, folks. Man, a lot of people have things to say. A lot of people have things to say, man. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Tim says, I feel like we have a team good enough to hide Drew's flaws. Devontae Harris literally cut the field in half for Drew. Yep. Especially in that 49ers game, Tim. He definitely did that. Teach them how to tackle effectively. Can't teach that, man. I mean, these guys been doing this for years, right? Pop Warner, high school, college. Like, you can teach technique, but you can't teach a guy how to tackle. TJ spitting straight facts. Sean Payton needs to be held accountable. What happened to the high-scoring games in the playoffs? I'll tell you what happened. Drew Brees, Sean Payton, play calling, unsuccess in the playoffs. Look, no, regardless, I take the playoffs. The playoffs reminds me of a boxer, right? A boxer that gets knocked out cold, right? So if you have bad success in the playoffs, it's like getting knocked out cold, right? You get knocked out. When you get back into that ring, man, you're a little bit on edge, man, because you don't want to get knocked out again. It's the same way. It's the same exact way with the team in the playoffs. I feel like all the misfortune and the unsuccess that they had in the playoffs, I feel like when Sean Payton and Drew Brees go into the playoffs, they try to do way too much. They try to put too much on their back, and they don't try to rely on the players enough. I'll be seeing Drew Brees throwing all type of erratic passes and passes I know for a fact he wouldn't throw in the regular season. I see Sean Payton coaching conservative and not wanting to be, not want to trust in some of those other players. Wanting to put it all on Drew Brees, throwing the football a gazillion times in the playoffs. Like I said, man, you cannot go into the playoffs being scared to get knocked out. Okay, you got to put the pressure on everybody that got you there, and that includes Drew Brees, that includes Alvin Kamara, that includes Michael Thomas, that includes the defense. Get it done. That's all I'm saying. Get it done. If you don't, man, you're just wasting everybody's time. You was wasting everybody's time, and I'm just tired of my time being wasted on a team that I know is really, really good. I'm gonna read a few more. Young City says, "Who that?" Heavy C Henderson says, "If Davenport stays healthy, I would be with you, TJ." Look, man, you don't give up on a player that you draft. You just don't. You just don't give up so easily on these guys. Like, I just don't understand it, man. Who that nation, man? We need to stop giving up so easy on some of these players that the same draft. Like, you got to get these guys time to develop. I feel like we're so impatient sometimes, man. God, we're so impatient with players. Like, allow these guys to develop and really analyze and look at these guys from year to year. Like, we expect Patrick Peterson, Darrelle Reeves, Reggie White, Strahan, like right off the bat. Appreciate these guys' development. Cam Jordan was not the beast that he was. You know what I'm saying? As he is right now. He was not the beast in the past that he is right now. Mark Ingram was not the beast that he was before, before he left the New Orleans Saints. Like he was not. It took some time for them to develop as players. Allow these guys to develop as players. We do not have patience for players for some reason. Oh, we draft them, man. They suck. They hurt. Look at them limping on the sideline. I don't mean he good. It just happens. Anybody that plays sports know, man. Like, you don't want to be hurt. Like, who wants to be hurt? You ever play basketball and like let's just say in a gym or something like that, somebody rolls over your ankle. You don't want that to happen. You don't want it to happen. It happens. In a heat of battle, things happen. So I'm not going to say a guy sucked, and I'm definitely not going to give up on a guy just because he has a few injuries. Not going to happen. Allow guys to get better and really analyze and look at the guys and see if they have gotten better. But folks, I'm going to have to go ahead and cut it short, man. This has been a really good show, man. Really good show. Thank you very much. I see a lot of feedback. A lot of people coming on Facebook. Thank you very much. Thank you all to the YouTube family as well. And if you don't know already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com. Search The State of the Saints podcast. Once again, I have to cut this short. My fiance has a conference call in a few minutes, so told I'll be off by 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. But please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to Facebook as well. Follow on Facebook, facebook.com. Search The State of the Saints podcast. The audio version of the State of the Saints podcast is available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your streaming services from, I'm pretty sure. State of the Saints podcast is there, and you can also use Alexa. All you have to do is say, hey Alexa, play the State of the Saints podcast, and they'll play the most recent episode for you. Thank you very much. Till next time. All I got to say is,